Greetings. Introducing Voices of Festival, a brand new podcast series from the International African Arts Festival, created to keep you connected as we count down to our 55th year of culture, creativity, and community. Each week, hear directly from the artists, dancers, musicians, vendors, and community members who make this festival an unforgettable experience. Tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. on YouTube for Voices of Festival. Celebrate the culture, feel the rhythm, be part of the journey.
Greetings, everyone. Habari Gani, Alafia. I know you guys are saying, okay, what are these two new faces doing on the screen today? Well, we're standing in for our host, Sahkeena Kinard and Baba Ademi Bandeli. They're away handling some other things. So versus not having a show this evening, we want to make sure that we stay connected to our community. So myself and the chairman of the board, Baba Segun Shabaka, is going to talk to them. We're going to run the show tonight. We're going to have this. We're driving the car tonight. So we're going to start off by just greeting all of those who came before us, those who paved the way, those who are made their transition, but have really left their mark through their work, through their commitment to our community while they were here with us. So Ibabai Tunu, G2 Wayusi, Ibabai Tunu, Mze Moyo, Ibabai Tunu, Baba Stan Kinard, Ibabai Tunu, oh man, Chalice. Bob, I know there's a lot about people that that you are connected to that we can really take this moment to acknowledge them. So please, I want you to take that time to do that. So now.
So I'm gonna give Tambiko from Kawaida philosophy developed by Dr. Maulana Karenga. And this is an offering of sacred words and waters in terms of practicing the morality of remembrance. And that is remembering those that came before us and on whose shoulders we stand. So we say homage to you, O beautiful black and radiant spirits. You shall always be for us a glorious spirits in the heavens and a continuing powerful presence on earth. You are counted and honored as our sacred ancestors, and your name shall endure as a monument, and the good you've done on earth shall never perish or pass away. Hotep, Ashe, Hedi. All right, so you've made... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I said, and all of that good stuff.
Yes, so we've recently lost some ancestors, and what we have done at the International African Arts Festival is we give the names of our recent ancestors. That is the ancestors that we have lost between Festival 25 and now, going into 26. And I'm going to just mention some of the people that we are aware of over the last few months since Festival went forward from July of 2025. And they are Malcolm Jamal Warner, Lloyd A. Williams, Baba Hedu Samaj, Tommy O. Abney, Asada Shakur, Alshura Peterson, Salima Moyo Smith, Attorney Brian A. Figueroa, Imam Talib Abdul Rashid, Imam Jamil Abdullah Alameen, Reverend Paul Chandler, Jabari Mandela Bates, Thomas Watkins, Carl Raleigh Muhammad, and Woody King Jr. These are some of the people that have joined the ancestors. And all of these people are people that had a close interaction with the festival.
Sure.
And so our ancestor lists will be posted at the shrine uh, this year, and that we've had every year out at the festival for the last few decades. Okay, Karibu, welcome. Again, as Brother Beware has mentioned, this is an unexpected fill-in for Brother Adiemi and Sister Sakina. And so we're going to just rehash and bring you some new information about what's going on with the 25th Annual International African Arts Festival.
Hold on, Baba. The
Yes.
55th annual. 55th annual. This is,
Okay.
I mean, I know you're mentioning it to the people, but this is really a big deal because it demonstrates generations, legacy, institution building, many families putting in this work. So I know you're saying this is the 55th, but I really want people to understand the energy that we have behind this year's festival and why we have the energy behind it, because it's the 55th. This is a milestone for us. This is a milestone. And I know you feel the same way. Am I wrong?
Oh, for sure. It's a milestone in life, period, in anything. 55 years, that don't come easily, for individuals or institutions. So that's a long life. And festival have been here. And if you know festival, it's not just been mediocre kind of event. It's been major. Each year has major highlights of quality and excellence. And so it's not taken lightly. And so we need people to understand that festival exists because of the community support that we get from our board,
yes,
our staff, our volunteers, our vendors, and the larger community. Those are the pillars of festival. And so we don't want people to think that they are taken lightly. No, you are a pillar of festival. And you have to really step up now in these times, because we're in some serious times as a community across this city, country, and world. We are facing some challenges unprecedented in probably any of our lifetimes, unless you've been around over 100 years.
Let me ask you this, Baba, right? Very interesting that you say that, because with the times that we're in, it would make sense that festival is even more important. And I'm saying that it was less important during different administrations, but now dealing with what we're dealing with as a community, I really want you to share with people why festival is so important now, the purpose that festival serves in this climate that we're in today.
That's a good question, and I'll try to hit on a few reasons. One is because it's a celebration of African people, a celebration of African people globally. And festival represents that in all of its aspects, the celebration and organization and beauty of African people. If you think about it, from its inception, festival has always been a Pan-African cultural event. Not an Afro-American, not a Negro, not a double O soul only, but African-American, African Caribbean, continental African, Latin Asian American. So it's been about, and I say Asian, I'm talking about Black people in Asia, Black people in Europe. We have always represented these communities, some more than others because of contact and accessibility and outreach, but always a global African phenomena. And so that is in itself a major achievement for
Asia.
55 years. So we arguably think that festival is the oldest Pan-African annual celebration on definitely in this country and probably globally.
That's right. That's right.
Probably globally. That's arguably, but because we've always been Pan-African. Now, of course, African culture is thousands of years old, so we can't say that we're the oldest of
Right.
just African culture in general, but Pan-African culture. You know,
Yes.
you probably got ethnic groups that are celebrating for hundreds, if not thousands of years. So we're not claiming that, but we are claiming the global Pan-African festival is something I think we can stand on, and arguably, you know, we believe it's where we are as a festival in this world, and so that is an important achievement. Okay, and we have at festival a whole family event. So we have youth programming every day during festival all day. We have adult, we have seniors, we have young adults, children. And so we are a family event. And we've been that from the beginning. If you look at the pictures from the children at the first festival, man, they're painting up Claver Place, all the sidewalk, everything.
Wow.
And so that has always been part of festival. You know, the children programming, and we bring in people that handle that quite well. Watoto Entertainment, Brother Wayne, Brother Jamed, to bring youth into the festival and bring the youth element into the festival. And so, of course, we can always do more, but we do more with more support. We have more support, the more we can do. We're not people that's taking the money and paying mortgages and all that with the festival money. I'm a volunteer. Since I retired, I've been almost a full-time volunteer at festival. Our board members put in unbelievable hours, all of our board members. Right now, I'm serving as executive director, a volunteer position, okay? So people need to understand that their funds go to festival and that we need their support. You can give us support in numerous ways. You can give us support.
Hold on for 1 second. Before you even go to there, right? What we do normally, what Baba Adiemi and Sahkeena do normally is they do a recap. So the recap is basically you get a snapshot of what happened at 54 to really prepare people and give them some insight as we move towards Festival 55. So we're going to take that break right now, and I'm going to bid everybody good night because I'm just standing in. That's why you see me, my background blurred out. I'm actually in my bedroom, but I don't want you to know that, so I got it blacked out, blurred out in the background. So Baba Segun, thank you for having me. Thank you for asking me for this opportunity. It was wonderful. I'm a festival baby too, so it was just like ABC to do this. But I'm going to take my leave, and after the break, Sahkeena's are going to come on. So you guys enjoy this clip from Festival 54.
Hello, everyone. Greetings, greetings. I'm here. That was a wonderful recap. And as always, festival is just an enjoyable experience. Right, Baba?
Always, very
Mm-hmm.
much so.
Mm-hmm. So I'm jumping into the conversation. We were talking about just the wonders of festival, being a celebration of African people globally, an ultimate Pan-African experience. And do you wanted to continue on with what you were saying, Baba?
Uh, I would just add that I think I was talking about the need for people's support, continued support,
Mm-hmm.
and not to take festival for granted. Uh, it's not a given. It exists because of a lot of sacrifice on the part of many people over the decades,
Mm-hmm.
thousands, tens of thousands, might say hundreds of thousands
Yeah.
over the 55 years. And so people need to know they have a role, especially in these times where our community is being strangled or attempting to be strangled by the powers that be.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I would even, put it out there that, people who plan to vend for festival, that they should start putting in their applications now. People that plan to perform for festivals, start making your bids. People that plan to dance at festival, like let's start. We're starting to gather production plans and such. So definitely. And vending, I heard that we weren't going to have as many vendors as usual. Like the number has reduced, so we need to. So if people really want to vend, they need to put their bid in now. Would you
Well,
say?
we're working on the vendor application. We've had some setbacks as
Okay.
usual from the city in terms of getting the uh, exact schematic of the park and the area that we're
Hmm.
going to be in. And we anticipate there may be a reduced number of vendors. And the
Okay.
application should be up. We was hoping, but the city has not given us the information we need yet.
Okay.
Parks Department and our architect that has to do this by exact uh, uh, figures given by the map
Okay.
has not been able to complete his process yet. But we're going to try to have uh, an application up and people can start signing up in the next week or so.
Okay.
We've been waiting on this information for over a month now. And
Okay.
so it's hindered the process. But yes, we
Mhm.
will be taking vendor applications. People need to get them in early. We're going to have a simple process where you can register online and you can pick your spot and then we'll move forward. But yes,
Okay.
yes, the festival vendors are the financial economic foundation of the festival. And
Hmm.
so they are one of the major pillars upon which festival exists.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I know I have received some inquiries about vending and such. So I know that it's on everyone's mind right now.
Hmm.
So we look
Yes.
forward to it within a week or 2 weeks time or so.
Uh, and
Now
with
I'm hearing you have an event coming up with Mayor Mamdani. Can you tell
uh,
us a little bit more?
around the election of Mayor Mandani, yes,
Mm-hmm.
we're having a forum because people think culture is just arts, entertainment, and food. But, we say that culture is the totality of thought and practice of a people. It's everything we do, everything we think. All right. And so it exists on at least 7 levels. That is history, spirituality, social organization, political organization, economic organization, creative creative production, art, music, literature, film, things like that. And then ethos, collective consciousness that we get from our self-understanding of our history on those 6 areas I mentioned earlier. And so
Mhm.
this forum will be on the election of Mayor Mamdani and the expectations and possibilities for Black New York. And we have people that worked on the campaign and worked close with him around his electoral victory as mayor. And so Attorney Esmeralda Simmons will
Okay.
be part of that forum, and
Mhm.
Professor Roger Green, two
Wonderful.
pillars of activism, consistent activism in the Black community here in Brooklyn City and globally.
Mhm.
And so that will take place from 3 to 5 p.m. on Sunday, February 22nd, in Restoration Plaza,
Mhm.
the multi-purpose room on the first floor around the corner from the Billie Holiday Theater. And so
Okay.
people should come out, ask their questions, and get information from people who are close to the process.
Mhm.
Okay. And so they can call 718-789-3264. 718-789-3264
Mhm.
for more information on that.
Okay.
Or they can write to narcoinfogroup at yahoo.com,
Mhm.
narcoinfogroup at yahoo.com. And the flyer should be on the website. It will be up there by tomorrow if it's not up there already.
I think that's great. I think that's great. I know one of the pressing issues that's happening right now in Brooklyn, well, New York, but Brooklyn specifically, is this deed theft that's
Uh-huh.
happening across the city. So I know that's one of the topics that should be brought up. So,
I'm sure it will.
mhm.
And Mirzaron Mandani has already spoken to that because he worked somewhat in that area when I went to the forum that uh, Attorney Esmeralda and Professor Roger Green hosted at Mega Evers. He
Mhm.
spoke to that issue also. So I'm sure that'll be one of the areas that they'll discuss at this forum. Okay.
Mhm.
So again, it's the topic is entitled Mayor Zaron Mamdani and Black New York Expectations and Possibilities. And that's 3 to 5 p.m.
And
Sunday, February 22nd.
will he be present?
No, no, no. It's a forum where they'll talk about him.
They
I'm
will talk
glad you asked
about,
that
they'll be
question because
speaking
that's what
about
I was,
him.
yeah,
Okay.
that's the topic. He's the
Okay.
topic of discussion, but he won't
Okay.
be there. At
I'm
least
glad I
he's
asked that
not
question.
scheduled to be there. It would be a surprise,
Okay.
a
All right.
great surprise. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's good for our people to come together to speak on these issues, especially to address
Mm-hmm.
pressing issues in our community. And Esmeralda Simmons, I call her Auntie Esmeralda. It's one of my aunts.
Mm-hmm.
And Professor Roger Green are pillars that are, standing at the forefront and making sure that we hold the city officials accountable. So definitely, I think everyone should be present and show up if they really care about what's happening in our community. So.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
So next on our roster of topics, we speaking about libations.
Yes. So libation is a festival opening event that we've been holding for about a decade or more now.
Mm-hmm.
It is in part uh, supported by an immigrant grant from the city of New York. And we showcase uh, some of the artists that will be appearing at festival, but we also pay tribute to uh, the ancestors,
Okay.
libation, hence libation. And we acknowledge uh, some of the people that are the foundation of festival, early uh, workers, sponsors, coordinators, and pillars of the institution, because most of our listeners, I'm sure probably know that festival comes out of the East Uhuru Sasa uh, Pan African Cultural Institution that started
Mhm.
in '69, and in '71 there was a fundraiser for the school and a closing ceremony, and that was the beginning of the festival. It was called then the African Street Carnival, and then it moved to the African Street Festival, and
Mhm.
today it's known as the International African Arts Festival. And so, we have that history that uh, we'll be looking at libation, and
Mhm.
libation will be. Uh, we can't tell you the artist yet, but we do have the venue. It'll be again at the Billie Holiday Theater, and it will be Sunday, the 7th of June, from
Yeah.
approximately 4 to 8 p.m. And we'll have some great artists. We're finalizing, and we'll have vendors, we'll have food, and there'll be a nominal interest fee. That should be up in March on Eventbrite, and the word will be out as the details are finalized. And so
Mhm.
um, we're looking forward to people coming out. Again, it's a celebration, but it's also some support uh, from people purchasing their tickets can help festival to move forward and keep festival developing. We
Mhm.
don't just want to survive, as we say in Kawi, that we want to develop, because inherent in development is survival. But if you're
Mhm.
just dealing with cockroach survival, making it day to day, no, we want development. And so we have to envision that in our personal and our institutional lives. And so, people supporting the events that we do, making donations, contributions, giving labor, skills, time of themselves, it all contributes to the institution's development.
Yes.
And we
And
were
so,
talking about development earlier, and so people need to understand why is festival important, because we can't develop as individuals without each other. Our relationships are key, and institutions are how we build and bond around relationships. And so the festival is a relationship of families, of individuals, of institutions, organizations, businesses. All of those are coming together in relationships that are uh, serve as positive developmental uh, contact and activities in our lives. And so we need to support institutions and see them as key, because uh, our families exist in communities, and communities are institutional relationships. And so uh, we want people to understand that more so now, given the attack on our community, that we have to keep institutions strong so that they can serve the collective good.
mhm. Yeah, and definitely, libations is, a celebration of festivals legacy. And,
Hmm.
starting off, we kick off with this event to prepare for the actual festival. So it is something that, it would be considered like our gala, right?
Yeah.
In
Hmm.
terms of a fundraising event for the actual event.
Hmm.
And that date is a very popular date. The first Sunday in Brooklyn is always a festive time. I
Mm-hmm.
remember growing up, it used to be the day of June Balloon, you know. You
Okay,
remember June
that I think
Balloon?
that's a little after my time.
You know, and it's the break into the season. So yes, it will be a festive time. And definitely, you know, festival is like family reunion. You know, it's a
Hmm.
cluster of all of a number of like hundreds of different families that have come together and have stayed together over this 55-year period of time. And so, yes, it is an example of what happens when community comes together and supports each other. So, definitely, I think people will come out. And this is a good time to even just say like, comment, subscribe, and share this video and share your stories with us about your favorite festival pastimes on our
Yes.
Facebook page, on our Instagram page at IAA Festival.
Hmm.
Yes. So it is Black History Month. Happy 100th Black History Month, Papa. We should have
Yes.
started out
Yes.
with that.
Yes.
But yes, we are in the midst of celebrating our history this month, even though they tried to, you know, officially erase it. But you know, we don't need the government's approval to celebrate. You know, and
No. No.
my
We
father,
haven't done that with
mhm,
our festival.
organizations.
You know, so we shouldn't start waiting for them. Kwanzaa
Mhm,
did not flourish waiting for people. Uh,
mhm,
the society or legitimacy from the powers that be. It was developed
mhm,
because of Black people, and neither does Black history flourish and develop because the dominant society wants it to.
mhm,
So, yes, yes. And as African people, the mothers and fathers of human origin and development and civil development of civilization, we should know that history and teach it to our kids and cherish it.
mhm,
African people, if African people had not developed in Africa and left and populated the rest of the world would be a desert. Okay, it would be a desert, as Sheikh Anta Diop has taught us. And so it's because of African people. People took on different biological and cultural and physical traits when they left Africa for environmental reasons. But we are the mothers and fathers of humankind, human origin, and of human civilization. When you look at ancient Kemet, uh, often called ancient Egypt, but the Egyptians called it Kemet, Tameri, the two lands, the beautiful land, the black land. And
mhm,
I was telling some people, there was a conference with Sheikh Anta Diop and Theophilo Benga, who I studied with at Temple. And after Diop writing for over a decade about Egypt being an African civilization, the UN held a conference. I think it was 74. And
mhm,
they invited Sheikh Anta Diop and Obenga to argue with these white Egyptologists around Egypt's origin. And uh, they spanked them.
mm,
Okay, they spanked them. Diop and Obenga spanked these white Egyptologists who were using lies and myths. So even today, rarely will you hear them say that Egypt was not an African civilization since that conference.
mm,
Okay, and
mm,
they use uh, many different uh, sources of evidence to prove their case. And just a few. One was, uh, how did the Egypts describe themselves? They described
mhm,
themselves as black. And they
mhm,
said, well, even the Kemet, the black land. They said, well, they didn't mean the black land. The white Egyptologists were saying, no, they meant the soil was black. But Obinga and Diop said, no, if they wanted to say soil, they could have said soil. They used the word, the symbol in Egypt for community of black people, not soil, because they had a word for soil.
Mm-hmm.
They said, well, they also argued that, hey, how did the other people in the world describe them? The Romans, etc., the ancient people of the world, they described them as black people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they use language, uh, uh, the language of different African cultures, and show how similar it is to um, ancient Egyptian language. Because
Mm-hmm.
right now it's in many ways a dead language, but it's being revived by black people, African people around the world. So
Mm-hmm.
one day we're going to speak that language again as
So,
African people.
Baba, so you know that there is, and I wanted to talk about this with Professor James Smalls, and we will. This is going to be an ongoing conversation
Mm-hmm.
because there is a belief that melanated people were everywhere, all over this planet, and we are indigenous um, in every part of the world. And some people will say, I'm not necessarily call myself African. I call myself indigenous and melanated because there are indigenous people of every hemisphere, every
Uh-huh.
region that were melanated. And some will say the argument, well, the original man, the first person that started, they started in Africa. And so that would make every melanated person African. But there are people that just want to acknowledge that all melanated people are indigenous. Do you agree
Well,
with that?
that's okay, but let's look at how the world defines people. How do we get our identity? And in Kawaida, we say we get our identity from two primary sources. One
Mm-hmm.
is where you come from, and the other is where you are. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, we're Africans in America. On the continent, we're in Africa. We're Africans in Europe. So uh, this is a problem that we're having because enough of us, I don't think, are studying history and movement of our people in our social, political, economic, cultural development uh, through time and space. And so, yes, we melanated, but where are we melanated and where are we? And where does that identity fit into world culture, world movement for social, political, economic change? And how does that unify us as a people in this world of change? Yeah, I'm for correct identity and definitions and all of that. But is that just a new label to put on ourselves versus uh, being African people? We haven't got enough people to admit to that yet, that they're Africans.
I think we got a very big group of people that say that they are African, yes. But
But but
I
but
think that there is a rising. 'Cause somebody did contact me online and was, talking about this new term of foundational Black American, that FBA term, and saying, that our people are, or their grandmothers and great grandmothers are claiming to be a part of American Indian tribes and don't really trace back to Africa. Or if they do, they don't know exactly what tribe, but they know that they have, Black Indian tribes.
okay, so we like you said, we have been all over the globe, and so we don't necessarily stay in isolation. So we mix with a lot of different people. But is that claiming that identity? Is it to escape being African? Or
No,
is it really to
no, it's not.
identify with that group? And what are you doing with those groups if you identify with them? How are you organizing among those groups that you're identifying with? So I'm not taking an adversarial
So
position of what you're saying.
there is a solution for that in terms of that there are people who are organizing around that group in terms of associating with just being indigenous to this land, because there are different perspectives about, you know, what is the next steps for us, because we are in serious times and we're experiencing unprecedented challenges. And, you know, what are some solutions to organizing within this country, on this land of where we are? And some people would, you know, look at it and say, well, if I'm indigenous to this land, if I'm American, then we may have some rights as being American Indian, or we may actually be able to organize with our ancestral tribes on this land and being able to, you know, get some benefits, if in that perspective. Or how about this, right? So I'm realizing that, you know, even with my last name, Kinard, I look back, and when I look back in history of that last name, it's a Scottish name. And when I look all the way back, it is related to a Black Scottish tribe called the Picts that mysteriously disappeared from Scotland in the late 1700s. And then the first um, the first person with that name, Kinard, appeared in America in the late 1700s. So I'm like, is there a connection there? I mean, there's a lot of history that has been hidden and burned and, you know, secret and not, you know, uncovered. But there was a time when we called ourselves Indian, or we called ourselves Negro, and then we called ourselves colored, and then we got to Black, and then we got to African, and we got to Afro. But you know, I think now a lot of secrets are being overturned
Well,
and revealed. And, you know, I
okay.
think,
Well, let's remember when we
mhm,
first came here, we came as various ethnic groups, but we called ourselves, our first organizations were African Methodist Episcopal Church, African Free School. African was how we saw ourselves. What happened
mhm,
was in the late 17, early 1800s, the American society, watching Haiti and watching Black people rebel and set this country on fire over 250 times,
mhm,
they began to see us as a threat.
mhm,
That was a nightmare to this country when Haiti went up in flames. And so
mhm,
they started to say that we need to get rid of Black people. That if you
mhm,
weren't enslaved African people, you did not belong in this country. That was actually how the so-called founding fathers and leaders of this country saw Black people. So we
mhm,
were African, and then what happened is they set up the American Colonization Society in 1820, and they began to actually organize to get Black people out of the country. That's why Liberia was formed. And for the
mhm,
British, that's why Sierra Leone was formed, because they wanted to get rid of Blacks in Britain that had gone there, because more Blacks fought in the war, the American Revolution, on the side of the British than on the
Mm-hmm.
side of the Americans because the British promised them freedom. And so the
Mm-hmm.
American Colonization Society for over 80 years, from 1820 to 1900, were trying to get rid of blacks, but black people were doing it. They were making
Mm-hmm.
love and making babies, and they saw it was futile to try to get rid of black people. And so
Mm-hmm.
we were African people. That was the name we used. And we went back to African in the 60s with the Black Power movement, in which we started to say we're African people again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so the our self-identity was African when we came here because we knew that was the continent that we came from. And we had come from these different ethnic groups, but we identify collectively as African. And
So,
that's where we
so
are today. And I'm
I
saying
agree.
that
I
we need to
agree with
teach
you
that
to a
history to more of
certain
our children.
extent.
I'm
I
sorry?
agree with you to a certain extent because you got to think what was happening with the American Indians, where they were merging with the enslaved Africans. But
Yes.
a lot of the enslaved Africans went to the Caribbean first, and then they came up here. And
Until until the British themselves started colonizing uh, this country. And
hmm
the British were pretty last ones to set up a colony. Okay.
hmm
And unlike the other parts of the Americas, they, like South Africa, like Israel, they were permanent colonizers. They wanted to settle, not get
hmm
rich and go back to the old country. So that's
hmm
the distinction. And so the yes, there was integration, mixing of
hmm
uh Indians, Native Americans, poor whites, blacks. Yeah, there was a big rebellion that put great fear into whites when the different ethnic groups burnt down uh, Jamestown, Virginia,
hmm
because uh, they all saw they was catching hell from the rich colonizers.
I
And that's
agree.
when they started using race more to divide the population. So yes, we mix with a lot of different people. In fact, the Seminole uh, Native Americans, I don't want to say tribes, that's a pejorative. I like to say nations. So the
hmm
Native Americans, Seminoles, they were called uh, the black tribe.
hmm
Well, they use a derogatory word, but they identified and saw themselves as that. And but on the other side of that too is there have been ethnic groups in the last 10, 20 years, Native American groups that have tried to push their African brothers and sisters to the side. So we as African people, that's our first and primary identity. And so we have to organize around that.
hmm Okay, we shall see. We'll continue this, but that was a
Sure.
great that was a great segue to really talk about our history for Black History Month, or
Yes.
American Negro History Month, or you know what we want to call it. But
It's a
there's so
rich
many different
history.
things to highlight.
Yeah.
It's such a rich history,
Yeah.
and you know, going into you just segueing back into just talking. This is our 55th year at festival, and I would
Mm-hmm.
love to have more of these forum conversations, just especially talking about this topic of just unity between Americans, Africans, and everyone of the African diaspora. We have to stay on the same page, and we have to support each other, especially in these times. Community is really our wealth. Community
Yeah.
is our go-to. And
Yeah.
so I will say, if you want to, you must please make a pledge for 55 this year.
Yeah.
We're in our 55th year, so we are asking for donations of denominations of five. So whether it's $5.55, whether it's $55, $5,500, whatever it is, make your pledge today at IAA Festival.
Yeah, and I would say we want you to seriously think about that pledge, and please, let's make it multiples of 55 in
Mm-hmm.
dollars. Yeah, multiples of 55. So, you know, it's not a time to retreat from our institutions and each other. It's a time to become more unified, as you said,
Mm-hmm.
Sister Sahkeena, more unified, because it's through that kind of cohesion that we will defend ourselves, our families, our community against the assault that we're on and under.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to be relentless until we break the back of our oppressor and make it very inconvenient for them to oppress us. And that is a
Mm-hmm.
collective act. And so
Exactly.
collective actions, we might say. So, we need to keep institutions functioning because they bring us together. They help us to stay organized. And they
Mm-hmm.
also teach us our capacity for organizational victory and progress.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and so our new location, Baba, can you really speak to the tenants of our new location? Because we are going to be at Lincoln Terrace Park, and I'm so excited about that.
Yes. So we've been able to secure uh, Lincoln Terrace Park, which is, if you know Brooklyn, let me give you some landmarks here. You have Eastern Parkway and Buffalo Avenue. You have East New York Avenue. So Lincoln Terrace Park is uh, bordered by Rochester, Eastern Parkway, Buffalo, and East New York Avenue. And festival will be taking place in a portion of that park, the what you call the southeast uh, corner, southeast section for this year. Hopefully, we'll expand next year. If y'all come out and support us, we will
And
grow into that park.
Baba, can you speak about our security and how great it is? Because we've never had an incident, any type of negative incident at festival for 55 years because our security is so tight
Yeah.
and on
Uh-huh.
runs.
Yes. So it's a combination of uh, the programming, the security, the staffing, the cooperation we receive from the different agencies we have to work with, the New York City Police Department, uh, and the community that understands the significance of this event. And so, any boneheads that want to come out and act a fool, as they used to say, they kind of get self-checked or they get checked. And so, yes, we haven't had any major police incidents. Not that we haven't had any, but any major police incidents in 55 years. And so it's a wholesome, safe, beautiful family environment and experience. And so the community uh, comes out as community, not as Negroes in crisis. They come out as community and they celebrate as community.
Hmm.
And so it's really like a one of a kind event. I go to festivals all over the world, and not that I do a lot, but I do enough festivals around the country and Africa, Caribbean, those kind of things. In fact, I just came back from a festival in Cuba a few days ago, and uh, our festival is unique in that it's family oriented. It's grassroots community. It doesn't cater to the international community, mainly of Europeans, for money. A lot of these events cater to Europeans because they need them to come in for the hotels and all that. We are a grassroots festival, and that means the community that surrounds the festival. When it was
Mhm.
Claver Place, when it was Boys and Girls, now we just left Commodore Bag. It's the people in the community. We get people from all over the world, but we're not dependent on them for the festival. And so festival is very unique kind of event. And it shouldn't be unique. It should be in every African community celebrating itself. And that should be a problem that is unique. It should be a natural occurrence.
Mhm.
Okay?
I agree. I agree. It is an example of what can happen when community comes together. It is a prime example of a grassroots organization that has privately supported itself for 55 years, and it shows what can actually happen when the collective comes together and just assumes responsibility for their
Yes.
economics, like essentially, you
Yeah,
know.
that's what it is.
Mhm.
So yeah, we have a great program that we're gonna have at Lincoln Terrace Park this year. It's gonna be a
Yes.
great program. And it's coming
Mhm.
together. And as in the past, it's gonna be awesome event. It's gonna be
Phenomenal.
awesome event. Yeah.
So
Pieces.
thank you, Baba. I appreciate you coming
Thank
on,
you.
and always you're always welcome. And until next time.
Yes, Sante Sana. Thank you, Sakina. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Mhm.
Thank you.